What's up, everybody, and welcome to a live stream right here on YouTube. I'm Albert Albanese, and this is the Slam Sessions. I'm hoping that some of you guys follow me on social media. If you guys have a Facebook, I think the smartest thing for you to do is to follow the Slam Sessions on Facebook, which is facebook.com/the Slam Sessions Podcast Network. That's where you can get the most up-to-date. Hey, King, what's up, man? That's where you can get the most up-to-date information on when I'm going to be going live. And if you followed me on facebook.com/the Slam Sessions Podcast Network, you would have known that there would have been a live stream today because I announced it earlier. But you also would have known that a friend of mine who I've been a guest on his podcast a few times. The podcast is called In Your House, HOWSE. Alakon House, who does that podcast, is I put out a podcast this morning, and he covered a very similar subject matter that I'm going to be covering today, which, if you saw the name of this, it's the Thunderdome edition, because why not talk about the Thunderdome? I mean, it's all the rage in wrestling right now. It's one of the biggest things and the biggest talking points, and there's a lot of reasons why. So if you guys have the opportunity and you guys are looking for a wrestling podcast to listen to, I very much suggest it. I'm going to type it out in the comments right now. It's available anywhere you find your podcast. It's that's supposed to be your, without an I in the middle of it. Sorry, I don't know how to spell apparently today. Yeah, so it's In Your House. But yeah, give that a listen if you're into wrestling podcasts. He's been on fire. True Sinister, Ben Espinoza. What's up, guys? How are you? It's good to see you. True Sinister, I think you were on a live stream. I don't know. The first one I did, I think I've done a couple of these. I think maybe if this is your first, welcome. If it's not, welcome back. So for you guys, I know that the majority of the people in this chat right now have found me through the Dave Knows Wrestling YouTube, and I appreciate you guys being here. I apologize for Monday night. Unfortunately, I wasn't feeling too well. I'm still not 100% there, but yeah, I'm getting better. It's not like it was anything crazy. It's just, I don't know. I just think lack of sleep kind of just really started screwing with me. I had a pounding headache, and there was no way I was going to be able to talk for 2.5 hours and be okay. Or else you would have just gotten this, Albert, where I would have just been like this the entire time. I would have just been like, okay, well, this is going to be over. I enjoy talking about this, but this is too much. I don't want that for you. I need, you know how I am. I need to be energetic. I need to be in your face. I need to create some controversy, because controversy creates content, and content creates cash. And I can sure use some cash right now. But I mean, so could everybody. I mean, but one place that really probably doesn't need cash is the WWE. And that's one of the major things I'm going to talk about today. So I might bring this up a couple of times, and it might sound like I'm harping on it. True Sinister, I don't have Super Chat for the reason of I haven't officially invested into this channel full time yet. I'm really trying to get to that point. I'm really trying to get to a point where I can produce content and do it, in a way where, similar to what Dave does, where Dave has content every single week. He's on live at the same time and stuff like that. So I feel bad about asking for people to support this channel with stuff like Super Chats and stuff like that, if I'm not officially putting forth all of my efforts into this channel. I would never make anyone do anything. Harry Flynn, what's up, buddy? I would never make anybody try to donate anything to something unless I truly and hardcore believed in it. And I do believe in the channel, and I think that if I really can lock down a date and do this all the time, I can make it more of an experience. Then yeah, sure, I can put forth the option of that kind of stuff. But I'm not going to jerk you guys around. If I'm not putting my 100% into this, I can't ask any of you to put anything towards it, because if I'm going to build this channel, and let's say I do, like, you know, in the future, allow super chats and stuff like that, that's money that would go to the channel. It wouldn't go to my pocket. So I want to get into a position where this channel, you know, produces enough content where I feel comfortable with the fact that I can say, hey, if you guys give me a super chat, it's going to be helping to build this channel. Good thing, though, I just gave my real life friend $90 for an Uber after the buses were extremely late for work. Damn, True Sinister, you are a great friend. Harry, you need more subscribers, and so do I. So subscribe to Harry Flynn's channel. Support people who are trying to make content. But yeah, True Sinister, you're way nicer of a guy than me. $90 is steep. I don't know if I mean, I've let my best friend borrow money before, but $90 for an Uber ride, ugh, that's intense. But good on you, man. And I appreciate the fact that you are actually looking to support. I appreciate that. You know, the one thing that I have to say is that from Dave's channel to this channel, we've seemed to have found a good corner of the internet where you guys are appreciative of the content that we put out, and you guys are looking to help and add to the channel instead of detract and take away and troll and be jerks. Now, I get it. There are people who do troll and stuff like that, but, you know, we know who they are, and it's mostly all in fun. But I appreciate all of you guys for just being here, for liking the video, for, you know, showing up for the lives, even if it's just for a minute or two, just to stop in and say hi, to get the numbers up, to make it look better for, you know, for the channel. You guys are great for that, and I really appreciate that. But let's get into wrestling. Let's get down to business. And no, I'm not going to sing the theme song from Mulan, although I could. Maybe that'll be another channel I should do. Me covering Disney songs. I don't think anybody actually really wants to hear that, but True Sinister, you liked SummerSlam better than WrestleMania, and that's hard for me. I really liked WrestleMania this year, but I was a huge fan of SummerSlam. I thought SummerSlam was great. I unfortunately couldn't watch it live. I was helping one of my best friends move, so that's what my Sunday consisted of. But I did come home and I did start it, and then while I was working on Monday, I had it on in the background. But for the most part, I really did watch all of it. And as a matter of fact, and King Kaido, yeah, they definitely did. SummerSlam absolutely did. And Harry, that's awesome. An action figure match is always cool. I like that that kind of stuff. You know about my my wrestling figure collection and my addiction. I have wrestling figures laying on my bed right now that I'm going through. It's taken over my life. But getting back to SummerSlam, the coolest moment of SummerSlam for me has nothing to do with the actual show. In preparation for doing this show today, my girlfriend came over last night, and I said, babe, can you just do me a favor? I want your unbiased opinion on what you think of this new concept that the WWE has done. They call it the Thunderdome. Let me know what you think. I want to know what an outsider who doesn't really watch wrestling at all thinks about something that's this cutting edge and brand new. So the only match I had left was the main event. So I turned on the main event, and I was up to I started off with everything. She watched the video package, she watched the entrances, she saw the whole thing, and the first thing that she said was, Bray Wyatt is the creepiest person ever. That mask is the scariest thing ever, but he's cool. I like him. And, you know, Braun came out, and I explained their backstory. I explained the Alexa Bliss thing. I, pointed out all the cool things that were going on in the background with the Thunderdome concept, all the fans in the back, on the screens, how, that's a differentiation from a normal crowd. I really, really, tried to just get her unbiased opinion of what she thought. And what she said was, this is cool. And, she dug it. But the one thing I didn't expect was she didn't tell me to turn it off. She watched the full match between Braun and Bray, and she was all about it. And she was all about the Fiend character. She's like, this guy's cool. I feel like wrestlers have a persona, but this guy's like, and which I thought was a really cool comparison. She's like, he's like a Batman. I said, well, don't you mean Joker? She's like, no, he's like Batman because Bruce Wayne and then Batman. And I was like, yeah, that's a really good call. Bray Wyatt's like a heel Batman. And I love the fact that she's not a wrestling fan and she's a superhero fan, you know, so much so as I'm a superhero fan. And, you know, before we started going out, she watched some of the stuff, but she wasn't like into it. So she's got more into it since, you know, we've been going out. And I was like, that's the comparison you made. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. And I don't know if I've ever been more attracted to you right now. So we watched the whole thing and she was cheering Bray on the entire time and she loved it. So that was the coolest moment for me. And seeing my boy Roman come back, that was awesome. I was super cool and super happy about that. I was pumped. That was awesome for me. I think Roman looked great. His teeth looked weird, but I think he looked great. But, it's great for me to see the big dog back. I cannot wait for SmackDown. This is the first time in a very long time where I've said I can't wait for Friday Night SmackDown because I really, really, really want to see what happens. I want to see what Roman has to say. I want to see how they book him. I want to see, is he a heel? Is he a face? Is he going to change his music? Is he going to change his gear? I hope he changes both. But yeah, I guess we'll see. But I liked SummerSlam. I thought the matches were great. Harry Flynn, that's a dream match right there. So that's pretty cool. And Drew Sinister, listen, Drew and Orton was great. I know that a lot of people were like, oh my God, I can't believe they made him lose to a backslide. Great wrestling story. You'll never see it coming. RKO versus Claymore. The two finishing moves that could come out of nowhere. We've seen Drew knock over Brock Lesnar with that Claymore over and over again. We've seen him hit it out of nowhere on guys like Heath Slater and even in the past Randy Orton. You know, and we know how Orton is with the RKO. And it was a backslide finish. And I loved it. A wrestling finish to a wrestling match. That was great for me. I thought it was excellent. I'd love to see Asuka get the push. I love the Bayley and Sasha tension. I love that they've kept this going on for this long. That's so great. And yeah, True Sinister, it's always great to see Roman back. Team H23, welcome, man. Thank you for finding the channel through the review. That's something I want to get back to. As a matter of fact, Harry Flynn will be the first here to tell you that I owe him a review. Unfortunately, my laptop is working for streaming now, but it's now not working for editing. So I need to, really get back into the channel and start really doing a lot more. And I need to update a lot of things. But I will start putting forth those videos. And if you guys have any suggestions for me to do, for me to start getting back into it once my editing software is up, hit me up at any time in the comments of any of the videos or hit me up on facebook.com/the Slam Sessions Podcast Network. Drop a comment, tell me what you want to see, and I will do my best to provide that for you. I love that your mother hated Braun, True Sinister. That's funny. I gave a non-wrestling fan the Braun SmackDown segment with Retribution. He was like, what did I just watch? Wrestling fans understand wrestling. Not people who aren't wrestling fans tend to not understand what's going on in wrestling. What I've noticed, though, is that being that my girlfriend is an actress and, she's very much into theater. She loves live theater. I explained the wrestling to her as like the male soap opera live theater thing. I feel like she gets it a little bit more than anybody else. I feel like my ex-wife it was hard. Like she got it. She understood it, but she wasn't into it. And there was things that she didn't get. But I feel like my girlfriend kind of picks it up and she kind of gets it. She's like, oh, that's cool. This whole thing has a story. So, True Sinister, definitely shoot. So she was like, oh, so they have a history with this girl, and he beat this guy, and now he's changed, and she got it. So I appreciated the fact that she was on her phone too. We were trying to figure out her birthday's in a few days. We're trying to figure out what we want to do, and instead of researching that, she kind of got caught off guard and was watching SummerSlam. So I thought that was a really cool moment. I don't think she'll be watching every week with me. I don't think it's something that's going to be, something that might be an us thing, but she did say that she was willing to go to a live show, which is great. And I'd love to bring her to one. And she was like, maybe I'll go to WrestleMania with you. I went, no, you're not ready for WrestleMania. I said, we can't do WrestleMania yet. I said, let's do a live show, untelevised, maybe even a Monday Night Raw. I said, there's no way you're sitting through 8 hours of wrestling. And she went, nope, not doing that. So I'm hoping that, when the world gets back to normal, maybe we can, when they come back to New York, Barclays, MSG, what have you, we can go to a live show. And for any of you New York residents and followers of the Slam Session, if I go to a live show, I'd love to meet up with you guys and hang out for a little bit and, get to talk to you guys in person, take a few pictures, which is really cool. But yeah, after the original Braun/Roman feud, I never want to entertain the is Roman a heel now speculation again. Yeah, it's just sir. Look, my thing is this. Everybody's like, he's going to be a heel. He's going to be a heel. Why does he have to be a heel? Why can't he just be a babyface who beats up heels? I'm sorry, a heel that beats up heels, like Austin was. Book him as a badass. He doesn't need to be squeaky clean. Let him come out, let him destroy people, and let him do what he's been doing. I think that the return was great. He came out, he beat up on two guys who were theoretically right now both heels. So I don't know how everybody automatically was like, oh my God, it was a heel turn. Everybody was also like, oh, was there a double heel turn with Bray and Braun? No, Braun turned heel. Bray is not a face. The Fiend can't be a face. I don't care what anybody says. There's no reason for it. But yeah, that I agree. I don't think that Roman should turn heel. I don't. And if he's going to turn heel, instead of doing it, in front of a bunch of screens, you need to turn Roman heel in front of a real crowd with a real reaction. If he's going to be the guy that's behind Retribution, cool. I can kind of get that. But by that same point, I also don't know if that's a good fit for him. But I want a live audience there for that reveal. If Roman's going to be a heel, it needs to be a big deal. It needs to be in front of a live audience. Degenerate, what's up, man? I hear people say that Andre was deteriorating bad and his body was breaking down before the Hulk betrayal. I asked Dave if Andre would have fought Hulk, would Andre be able to work better? Andre was able to fought Hulk earlier? Because they've had, look, if you go back and watch their matches where Andre was the face and Hogan was the heel, they had pretty good matches, man. I'm a big fan of Andre's work from his younger days because he was able to do a lot of things. But Dave is 100% right. By the mid-'80s, Andre's body was in bad shape. If you listen to, honestly, if you watch the HBO documentary about Andre, it goes into detail about how bad Andre was and, what he was going through when he was doing The Princess Bride and stuff like that. He couldn't even catch the actress. I like Andre's work as a babyface. I think that his heel turn would have been better maybe a year or two before that. But also by that same point, I don't know if it would have worked because I don't know if they had made it a playoff like Hogan. I think the timing would have been better. I think the match would have been better if it would have happened before. But I think the timing was better. I think the story that they told was right. And King Kaito, yes, 100%. Make Roman a badass. Team H, I don't know if Roman has the potential to be as big of a star as Stone Cold. But I also don't think that wrestling fans will ever let that happen. I don't think wrestling fans will ever let anybody get as big as Stone Cold. I don't think that wrestling fans nowadays have the capacity to cheer on the same guy as everybody else. They're so entrenched in being divisive and toxic that I don't think we're going to ever get anybody. I mean, Drew, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop with Drew. I'm really waiting for it. A lot of people are starting with it now. Can you believe the way he was selling those head kicks? Oh my God, it looked like he was limping. No, he was staggering around. He had a head injury. That selling was so bad. Oh God, I can't believe it's starting already. Teammates 23, if you dislike wrestling fans, just wait a couple of minutes because I got something for you. Degenerate, what's going on in wrestling? Was Andre in better shape in 88.5 or in 84 probably, but I don't know. I think in the early 80s, like 80, 81, 82, that's when Andre was still, I think, more close to being at the top of his game. I think the end of 80, like the mid 83 to end of 83 to 84, that's when Vince started to lighten his load. And, he was only booked for WWF. and he wasn't doing anything else. He was still booked as an attraction there, and that was the reason why. So Degenerate, we're talking all about what's going on right now. Yeah, I'm totally cool with heel Braun being a badass. I think that old school whiny Braun wasn't too cool, but yeah, I do like a heel. I do like a heel Braun. I think Braun's better as a heel. He's a big dude. And true, Sir Hogan's reign was like boringly long, but back then the shows weren't as frequent and there wasn't as much chatter online. So, and the houses drew. So why would you end something that was drawing? And I don't like Hogan, but he drew. And Degenerate, no, I don't think Roman turned heel at all. I think that Roman is still a face. I think he came out and attacked 2 heels. So I don't think he turned heel. I think the internet just wants that to happen, so they're trying to wish it into existence. And King Karo, yeah, you're 100% right. There's never going to be a guy as big as Austin. I don't think that there's ever going to be a guy as big as The Rock. I don't think there's going to be a guy as big, and like I know that I'm going down from here. I don't think there's going to be a guy as big as Shawn. I don't think there's ever going to be a guy as big as Brett. And some of those guys, Brett and Shawn were divisive with audiences for a pretty decent amount of time. I don't think we'll ever see a star that caliber. I told Dave Alexa was wrong for harassing Braun, and he warned her, and he tried to give her a pass. Well, I think Dave is just upset that Alexa and Ryan Cabrera are so happy. Would wrestling be as good as it used to be in the late 90s if fans were as good as old school wrestling fans? Degenerate, I'm going to talk all about the Thunderdome. So if you want to know about that, we will talk about that in a couple of minutes. So I'm going to answer this question, and then we're going to dig into that. Dave and I have this argument a lot. And Team H23, I know you're hearing the name Dave mentioned a lot. That's because I do every Monday, I'm a guest on Dave Knows Wrestling here on YouTube. So if you're not subscribed over there, you can catch me on Mondays doing a live stream during Raw every week with Dave. And that goes for anybody who's in here that doesn't know who Dave is. But yeah. I don't think that the fan has changed. I think that the interaction has changed. And I think that fans right now are more into only supporting what they want to support. Yeah, definitely check him out. AJ Envoy, how are you, man? I'm so glad you're here. Right before I started getting crazy. I'm glad you jumped in right at the right time. But I don't even know if Prime Brock would be able to throw around Prime Andre. That would be fun to watch, Harry. But I think that wrestling fans right now are in this position where the cool thing to do is to go online and be negative about the industry, because they feel like, I'm glad you were able to stop in. But it's like this one thing where wrestling fans want to be divisive, and they also want to be, in this position where they have to make choices. And Dave and I talk about this a lot, where there's no reason to say AEW is so much better than WWE. Why are you still watching WWE? This is such, absolute BS. You should just watch AEW. No, you should want the WWE to be better, because the better the product is on WWE's end, the more competition it gives to AEW, the more that AEW has to step up their game, and vice versa. There's no reason to ever root against a wrestling company. If the fans that do that all the time and to constantly go on Twitter and criticize all the time, you're absolutely wrong. You're contributing to the downfall of the professional wrestling business. And I know that Dave doesn't agree with me on this, but I think that the numbers have slowly dropped because I think wrestling fans are so oversaturated with trying to talk about wrestling online and seeing all this negativity that they just started to tune out. And I think that wrestling fans are starting to believe everything that they see in the majority of the comments instead of formulating their own opinions. The idea about professional wrestling and anything else is to formulate your own opinion. If you want to have an opinion on something, you go there and you watch it. And hey, there are 100 people right now that can say that, I don't know, Citizen Kane is the greatest movie ever made. But damn it, I watched Citizen Kane and I thought it was boring. I liked the concept. like the idea behind it was okay, but I was bored. And it's not because it was in black and white, because the original Scarface, the 1940s Scarface, is so much better than the Al Pacino Scarface. I don't care what anybody says. It's so much better. I love old movies. I am a huge fan of the Turn of Color films. I love, Bonnie and Clyde. I like all that old school stuff. Citizen Kane bored me. But that's widely regarded as the best movie of all time. And now the reason why I went off on that tangent is the fact that WWE is widely regarded as the best professional wrestling company of all time. But wrestling fans now have decided that the thing that is cool to do is to beat down on the WWE and make their opinions be that everything that they do is bad. Meanwhile, on the other channel, they can switch it and see the exact same thing and make excuses for as to why that's okay. What I loved is the immediacy of when the Thunderdome concept started. Everybody was like, well, this is going to be an epic fail. It didn't even happen yet. It didn't happen, but everybody was like, oh my God, this is going to be an epic fail. And Degenerate, yeah, Bonnie and Clyde were real. Everybody's opinions are not supposed to be the same. Exactly. That's what's beautiful. And that's what Eric Bischoff says all the time, King Kaido. If you're a wrestling fan, the way that wrestling has always been promoted is this is, a buffet. If you're a vegetarian, you stick to the fruits and the veggies at the end of the line. If you're a big fan of like steak, you grab that. If you're a big chicken fan, you grab that. If you like it all, good for you, man. You get all of it, and it's all entertaining. But just because you are really, because you love the meat and potatoes part, doesn't mean that when you get down to the veggie part, you knock the veggie platter over and say F anybody who likes this, because other people might be fans of that too. If you like Raw Underground, great. If you hate the rest of the show but like Raw Underground, then watch it for Raw Underground. If you like the rest of the show and hate Raw Underground, watch the rest of the show, but deal with Raw Underground for the port of it is, but you don't have to bash the entire show. And AJ, you're 100% right. I don't insult anybody. As a matter of fact, I got upset with myself because I got sucked into it on Twitter and I insulted somebody. He insulted me first. And I've been a little bit more vocal on Twitter, and maybe I should calm myself down. But it's fun to make fun of these marks who have no idea what they're talking about. But I am also starting to see that a lot of fans are siding with me. I've got a lot more like tweets now than, I ever had before. But yeah, I hate the hypocrisy. I don't insult fans. If you don't like the thing that I like, that's fine. You don't have to. If you like the thing and I dislike it, that's fine. There's no problem there. We're all allowed to be in the same circle, but we should all root for wrestling to be the best it possibly could. We should not want to see the downfall of WWE. We should not want to see AEW out of business. I honestly think the Attitude Era was a success in the short term, but we're facing the consequences now because ever since... So teammates, that's a great point. I think a lot of people don't like 3 thumbs up, by the way, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I think that wrestling fans are in this, post-Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression Era kind of got booked the same way, where there was and I've said this too. I think that the way that the show is structured was always better during the Attitude Era and stuff like that. I think that, when we're in a position now where we look at a show and we see it open and every week it's, opening intro, fireworks, throw to the announce desk, world champion comes out. Man, what happened to those stupid little things that, wait, Dave's live? Oh no, we're competing against each other? Well, this is what happens when we don't, coagulate, and that's an Entourage reference for anybody who gets that. Oh well, competition. Listen, competition creates better content. I got to be better than Dave now. But yeah, the style of booking, the show style was so much better. I like the opening of Raw being the limo pulling up and Vince getting out. Vince McMahon's in the building. What's his announcement today? I like the idea that there are backstage segments and, people, going, after each other not after each other, but people, crossing paths and, storylines intersecting. That's why I like Raw Underground, because storylines intersect there and it's different people doing different things than they're doing on the main show. And I think the booking is getting better. I really do. I really think the booking is getting better. But what I also think is that wrestling fans will never be satisfied with the fact that wrestling will never be booked the way it was in the 90s. But I also don't think that wrestling fans nowadays can, handle the heat of the Attitude Era. Thank you, teammates. I appreciate it. For everybody who's sticking around, it's cool. For everybody who's going over and switching over because Dave went live, enjoy. No qualms here. That's cool by me. But yeah, so that's my thing. And AJ, you're right. Wrestling Twitter is disgusting. I'm sure that there is the sector that want that. And yes, Degenerate, that is exactly what it is. It's the Raw Underground's WWE's Fight Club. And I enjoy it. I think it's cool. It's a good concept. It's something different. It's new, but my big thing is this. I've looked at this Thunderdome concept, and I've looked at the idea, and yet, AJ, no, we absolutely can't handle the heat. And the proof for that, and thank you, teammates, for bringing me into this, because this is where I really wanted to talk about. The proof to that is what's been going on in the Thunderdome. Now, we've seen that there have been 3 weeks that the Thunderdome has been, King Kaito, Dolph Ziggler is actually a badass on Raw right now, and I love it. But we've seen 3 weeks straight, 3 shows straight of WWE being inside this contraption called the Thunderdome. And every single show, there has been someone who has tried to get on camera to do something that is against the rules. First and foremost, I want to make this completely known. There is someone who put up a sign in the Degenerate, look, check it out on Friday, man. Just take a look at it and just let me know what you think of the presentation. And King Kaito, yes, Wade Barrett coming back is huge, being an announcer on NXT. I think that's awesome. Yeah, AJ, I completely agree. That's one of the things about the Thunderdome. Everybody was going crazy about the fact that the Thunderdome, at the initial showing of the Thunderdome, it sucks. It's too distracting. I can't concentrate on the wrestlers in the ring. It's too bright. Blah blah blah. That wasn't the finished product. And honestly, I have not been distracted once since watching it. I really like it. I like Wade Barrett. I'm just used to it, but that's just me. But yeah, like I don't understand why everybody's gotta like drive home this disgusting, toxic, negative energy towards something that they haven't even seen in person and happen. And yeah, King Kaito, it's really not as bad. It didn't look, I admit it. It looked a little jarring the first time I saw it, and it looked a little bit distracting, but it's really not bad. But I want to get this part off my chest because I'm sick and tired of this thing. The WWE has insisted that they've looked into all the allegations for Velveteen Dream. I don't know what happened. Velveteen has said he's been hacked. We have seen that Matt Riddle wasn't hacked, but the tweets and the messages were edited. The WWE did an internal investigation. They found there was nothing wrong, yet this moron on Twitter has been going off over and over again. Fire Velveteen Dream. Fire Velveteen Dream. Puts up a sign that says Fire Velveteen Dream over and over and over. These social justice warriors are absolutely abhorrent when it comes to things like this. Yes, great. You've made a decision on how you feel. And if you do not support Velveteen Dream, then don't support him. Turn off your TV whenever you want. But what if he's innocent? And what if the WWE fires an innocent man? Then what happens? Because in my opinion, the worst thing WWE could do is to look into these allegations, fire him, have it be that it's not true, and then what happens? They hire him back. They come back with their tail tucked between their legs. It makes them look horrible. And King Kaito, you're 100% right. If Dream is there, he's there for a reason, and that means he was exonerated from everything. Harry, if he did, let me know, because that's crazy. And yes, Enzo's the perfect example. Now remember, AJ, Enzo got fired not because of the investigation, and Enzo might still be an employee right now if he would have told the WWE about the investigation in the first place. But Dream was very forthcoming. The allegations came up. He went to WWE. They did all of this, and he said, hey, You never know. There could be, I'm assuming, hey, there could be more. And if there was, they looked into it and found that there was no wrongdoing. If the WWE did an internal investigation and found there was no wrongdoing, people putting this up, and the other people who are just like, oh my God, you're our hero. You got Fire Velveteen Dream on the Thunderdome. You're a moron. Keep it on the Twitter. Keep the hashtags going. If you want to boycott it, fine. But don't ruin a good thing before it happens by doing stupid stuff. And he's not the only one. Putting up pictures of Chris Benoit, putting up videos of executions, putting up pictures of people in the KKK. That's what you think is funny? This is cool to you? If you wonder why wrestling fans get looked at as virgins that jerk off in their parents' basements and are losers and virgins and have no lives and can't get a girlfriend, have never seen a set of tits in their life, this is why. It's because these wrestling fans root it for everyone. The fact that you want to try to get yourself into trouble, to get yourself noticed, to put this stupidity out into this Thunderdome shows that you have half a brain. And inside that half a brain, about 3 of those brain cells work. You're a mark for yourself. Trying to get yourself over. Yes, thank you, Harry. Another person put up the picture of Sonya's attacker. What do you think that you're trying to do this? The woman was traumatized. If that was funny to you, somebody walking into somebody's house and trying to murder Mandy Rose and to kidnap somebody, that's entertaining to you? I made sure that this stream, I clicked the button that said it wasn't for kids because I knew I was going to go off today. This is absolutely disgusting, despicable behavior. And everyone that participates in this, and everyone who thinks that it's funny and cool, you're just as fucking stupid as everybody else. And I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. That's absolute shit. Enough is enough. King Kyle, you're 100% right. Enough is enough. If you want to be a wrestling fan, support professional wrestling. If you don't want to be a wrestling fan, don't watch the fucking product. That's it. It's simple as that. I can't make it any clearer to you. If you don't like the WWE, don't fucking watch it. Great. I'm totally cool with that. The booking sucks. Everything about WWE's been shit since 2005. Everything's been in WWE's been shit since 2010. Everything in WWE's been shit since 2015. But you're still fucking watching it. So if it was so much shit, why do you keep watching it? And teammates, thank you for using the term IWC, because I had to correct another fucking idiot on the internet the other day where they're like, well, you're in the IWC because you're commenting about wrestling on the internet. No, that's not what it means, you dumb fuck. There is a certain section of people that we talk about that are members of the IWC because they're marks for themselves and they're marks. And yes, Mr. J Jr., someone did that. They're marks for themselves, they're marks for the indie wrestling scene, and they're marks for anything anti-WWE. Unless it's Impact. I don't know why. But that's what everybody wants to do. Why sabotage something? If this happens and it continues to happen and the WWE has to go back, we go back to an empty PC. The Performance Center is going to be fucking empty. We're going to have NXT people slamming on the glass again. And we're not going to get a good show anymore because the fans are something that absolutely makes the show. And I agree with that. And teammates, if people are Attitude Era marks, that's fine. But the fact is that for the most part, people are like, bring back the Attitude Era. Bring back the Attitude Era. Oh my God, the Attitude Era needs to come back. And then the WWE runs something that's slightly controversial, and they're like, whoa, can't believe that was on my TV. This is disgusting. How could WWE be a publicly traded company and let that on their TV? And it's the same people. If you can't take the heat, get the hell out of the kitchen. Everybody wants the Attitude Era back, and then they watch something that's slightly controversial and they're like, oh my God, oh my God. Ridiculous. And AJ, I appreciate that. I really do. And Mr. J Jr., I don't know why people do that. Thank you, Ben, by the way. Thank you. Why the thing that I can only think of, and look, I don't think. Well, first of all, Team A just answered it for me. Wrestling fans are so stupid. 100% true. If you're going to do this, it's specifically to sabotage the WWE. Or to just go online and take credit for it and giggle around with your friends, be like, oh, I put up a picture of Chris Benoit. Isn't that funny? You're a fucking loser. And then I have to sit here and finally get entertained by something so immersive and so cool that the WWE spent millions of dollars on to do for us, to entertain us, the wrestling fans, to get us into a position where we can be close enough to the action as we humanly possibly can, and this is the way we get treated. I'm sorry, this is the way we treat them. Mr. J Jr., I don't understand. Look, wrestling fans are stupid. All right? Team H is 100% right. They're stupid. If the idea is to sabotage the WWE, okay, that's great. But if WWE goes out of business, guess what? The wrestling world will never be the same again. Everybody thinks that WWE going out of business is great. What about all the guys that work there? But fuck all them, right? Fuck all them for losing their jobs. But by that same point, the second the WWE in the middle of a pandemic, cut a bunch of people, it was, they're the worst fucking company ever. How could they cut a whole bunch of people in the middle of the pandemic? And then 5 minutes later, turn around and say, they should go out of business. We're not dealing with people that are all right up here, guys. And that's the thing about wrestling fans. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. They wanted the worst for the WWE because they feel slighted because the WWE didn't book things exactly how they felt it. Absolute stupid, drizzling shit. Oh, AJ, I completely agree. Man, imagine that. Imagine if there was anything close to the Attitude Era that came back. Can you imagine how bad the social justice warriors on the internet would be? It would be they would have a field day with it. The Attitude Era can never come back. This generation can't handle it. It's the same reason why Steve Carell said there can never be The Office again, because you can never deal with that kind of humor again. Look at the shows we used to watch. I'm a big fan of Entourage. That show can never air in it like it did right now at this date and time. Friends can't even. You know how many people rewatched Friends when it came on Netflix and they're like, this show is like an anti-women, transphobic, like all this kind of stuff. Imagine if I was wrestling now, please. And Team H, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. If wrestling fans were normal, and they did what they did during the time where there was a real war. And I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. And you can berate me if you want. AEW versus NXT is not a fucking war. It's not a war. If both shows can't get over 1 million viewers, it's not a fucking war. It's a cat fight. When we were watching the WWE and we were watching Raw versus Nitro, and there were 10 million people watching those shows together, that was a war. But wrestling fans, we're just like, oh, okay, we'll watch both, and we'll talk about what we like on both, and that's it. That's the way it should be. It's not hard. Mr. J Jr., look, if that's the way you feel, that's fine. If you don't like Vince, I totally get it. I know. Look, I'm going to talk about my friend Chris just made a comment, and we're in a group chat with a couple of my other friends, and most people in that chat don't like Vince either. That's fine. If that's your opinion, that's fine. I love Vince. I love Vince because he created my childhood. I love Vince because as a 74-year-old man, he took a bump off of a 10-foot stage onto a crash pad because Rob Gronkowski, that big baby, was afraid to do it. I love Vince because he's the architect of professional wrestling. Now, I love what Vince gave to me. And I still love what Vince gives to me because nobody else in the world does it better. And Team H, I think AEW is trying to bring back a little bit more of that edge, but I think that also by that same point, they're keeping it, cutting edge enough so that, if the social justice warriors aren't going to get all over them. And yeah, look, anything is demonized right now, King Kaido. I mean, it's the fact that, the fact that that's the case is, absolutely ridiculous. The Office is one of my favorite shows, AJ. That's today's society. People suck. It's all about a me attitude. No one ever thinks about the greater picture. And I'm guilty of it sometimes, but I want the payout I want to be in on, but I'm not. Look, Chris, me and you talk all the time about this. Chris is a huge AEW fan, and there's the times where I criticize AEW, and Chris gets a little upset. And there are times where he criticizes WWE, and I get a little upset. But at the end of the day, we're both friends, but it's constructive criticism. That's what it's all about. And it's absolutely ridiculous for people to sit back and to think to themselves that, constructive criticism and shitting all over something is the same thing. Because everything the WWE does doesn't suck. I don't care what anybody says. There is something on that show for everybody to like. Whether it's the matches, the characters, the graphics, the LED boards, the Thunderdome in general. There's something on that show for everybody to like. Yeah, AJ, 100%. But nobody knows what satire and comedy is. I did an entire project in college about satirical humor and the whole Charlie Hebdo deal and everything like that. It's a big deal, and people don't understand, about that stuff anymore. And it's not meant to be taken offensive. Team H, man, I am so glad you enjoy this. It's awesome, man. I appreciate the support. And yeah, I thought the same thing, Mr. J Jr. Don't worry. Yeah, exactly. That's what I don't understand. Even though people will say that video games are the root of all evil. But yeah, no one looks at that and says that was it. And King Kaido, that's the thing. WWF versus WCW didn't give the fans what they wanted. They gave the fans their wrestling product, and the fans responded favorably to it. It wasn't about what anybody wanted. Because look, I can tell you right now, I absolutely hate Hulk Hogan. So they didn't give me what I wanted with Hogan being the leader of the NWO and wearing that world title for all that time. That sucked for me. But the NWO was cool, so I watched it. And sure, we got Austin, but I'm sure there are other people who like other guys that, didn't want exactly what they want, but it was so entertaining it didn't matter. And Chris, absolutely, man. There's never going to be another Monday Night War. I loved the Monday Night War. It was one of my favorite things that I've ever seen in all of wrestling. And I love ECW. Man, I loved ECW. And that was a part of the Attitude Era just as much as anything else. And Degenerate Vince didn't do anything except be Vince. Vince definitely has issues, and WWE definitely has problems too. But yeah, no, look, there are issues. And look, Chris will be the first person to tell you, because we talk about this all the time. I constructively criticize things that I don't like about WWE all the time. I don't like the way that they're treating Retribution. I don't understand why they weren't at SummerSlam. I don't understand why they're just coming out and attacking at the end. I don't like the way that they're... it's a lot better now. I hated when they were just throwing bricks through windows and turning over cars. That was stupid. I am much... I'm so okay with constructively criticizing any product. But to hate disingenuinely for no reason is absolutely ridiculous. Without Vince, wrestling would have died years ago. When it was losing the war, he could have packed it in, but he didn't. And because of that, I can love AEW. Exactly, Chris. That's the thing. It's it's a domino effect. And look, Team H, I love the WWE right now. I think the WWE right now is, I think, better than they've been in the past 5 or 6 years. I think that they're getting better with stories. I think they're getting better with wrestling. I like all that. I think they're doing better. And Degenerate, I don't like talking to wrestling fans. You guys are the only wrestling fans I like to talk to. And, I pushed heavy at the beginning of this, and I'm going to push heavy for it again for you guys to check it out. My friend Alakon, who has a podcast and released an episode this morning. If you guys are Spotify guys or your iTunes guys or any podcast place, you can always find it. It's the In Your House podcast, which I just put up in the chat. He did the same thing, man. He's in the exact same position. I enjoy talking about wrestling fans who like talking about wrestling and the things that they like. And AJ, you're 100% right. It's the fans. That's who's driving this. AEW isn't driving. Look, AEW takes their shots at WWE, and they've been doing it less, and I appreciate that fact. But for the most part, they're not the ones driving this war. It's the fans that are. Harry, congratulations on beating Dave in predictions, by the way. And yeah, Degenerate, we talked about that before. It was a KKK troll. There was a guy who put up a beheading. There was people who put up Sonya's attacker. There was a people who put up a picture of Chris Benoit. I mean, this is all stupidity. The Fire Velveteen Dream moron. Team H, I don't think so. And Base Up, what's up, dude? And yeah, I saw that the NBA had a walkout. Hey, look, if they want to support, look, these shootings are getting crazy. I'm not going to turn this into a big political thing, but yeah. If that's what they want to do and they want to support, that's more power to them. Peaceful protesting is always fine in my book. And Team H, I don't think that WCW should come back. I think it's a dead brand. It's over. But they try to bring it back ECW, and look what happened. Harry, I listened to the FWF podcast. I'm a Patreon member, so I listened to it a couple of days ago, or maybe yesterday, and it was phenomenal. I love it. I think it's one of the best things about it. One of the best things about wrestling right now is two professional wrestlers from different companies fantasy booking the Attitude Era. It's cool. Ben, yeah, of course I hated. I've never wanted Shawn Michaels to win a match more in my life than when he wrestled Hogan. And yeah, AJ, that's fine. Look, I know there's a lot of people on this stream that love AEW, and that's great, man. If you love AEW, watch AEW. If you love WWE, watch it. If you love MLW or NWA or Impact, watch it. Be supportive. I've been watching Impact now that Brian Myers has been on there because I'm a big Brian Myers fan. I followed his career my entire, like since he's really been like started in WWE, and I even knew a little bit about him during the NYWC days, because I always follow Mikey Whipwreck's career and I like to see who he trained. And that was in the infancy of the internet. And I would go on and look at, at the trainees, and I knew who Matt and Brian was, before then. Chris, I don't hate that you watch Impact. Actually, I like the fact that you watch Impact. I started watching it too. It's hard to watch sometimes. Some of those segments, what are they called with the house something segments? It's a little bit hard, but I do like Impact. And Harry, I saw the Pikachu thing. I don't know what WWE has even done in the last 5 years other than pushing people to get me less interested in their product. Hey, look, Degenerate, if that's the case, that's fine. If you're not a fan and you're not watching it, that's cool, man. Like, I don't mind that. If you're not a fan of what's going on, that's cool. Wrestle House, thank you, Harry. Those segments are a little bit hard to watch. And RVD is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, and him and the Katie Forbes thing is hard to watch too. But that's just me. But Degenerate, if that's the case, that's cool. Albert, you're a guy who actually has a girlfriend and sees wrestling for what it is. You do not need to bring yourself down to some of these clowns on Twitter. And I try not to, AJ. I really do. I really try my best not to. But, when you sit there and somebody makes a stupid comment and their reaction, my reaction to that is, hey, WWE isn't here to book their entire... Oh, because this was his thing. He literally said, we pay the wrestlers' salaries. No, you don't, you fucking idiot. Vince McMahon pays the wrestlers' salaries. If you want to say that our merchandising and us buying tickets and stuff helps the business get along, sure. But you don't pay for shit. Your $10 subscription to the WWE Network doesn't pay Roman Reigns' salary. Fox, USA, distribution deals, commercials, advertising, that pays. If there wasn't us, would any of that happen? Sure. But the we pay your salary thing is absolutely fucking stupid. And I said so. And his response, he retweeted a picture of my profile picture and said, yeah, I'm going to listen to this guy. When you have no comeback and your comeback is to insult me personally, I know that you're a fucking moron. So I said, oh no. You posted my Twitter profile picture in the comments. Whatever shall I do? Get a life, you douche. And then I realized that I was lowering myself to him because I responded. But so, AJ, you're 100% right. Harry, if I can find time in my schedule to fit it in, I will try. I do like that. Mr. J Jr., I still support ECW even though it's dead. It's my favorite wrestling organization of all time. And Team H, I like Impact. I like seeing guys that I haven't seen work for a while and new people who I've never seen work on the show. I've been watching ever since Brian's teasers came up, and I've been liking it. Um, I am happy, by the way, Degenerate, that Dave stopped streaming. If he did, I appreciate it. As a matter of fact, Dave should have hit me up and should have told me he was doing it, and we could have done it together. But maybe he did. I have a text. Did he? No. um, and yeah, Chris, I love Tommy. I think he's doing a great job in Impact. Degenerate, that's fun. If you haven't been interested, that's totally cool. Oh, Breezango won the tag title. It's about time that they actually did something. They deserve to be a tag champions for the longest time. I think they should have won it on SmackDown years ago. That's just my personal opinion, though. Even though I really like Fabian Eichner. If that guy was 4 inches taller, he'd be Vince McMahon and be like drooling all over him. And he's a great athlete. So I got to say, I was arguing with an AEW fanboy, I believe, about how the Wednesday Night War is not really a war, and they should be worrying about the ratings a little bit. Look, here's the thing. I like AEW. Then he accused me of watching Jim Cornette, which I do once in a while. Look, I'm not a big Cornette guy. I appreciate what Cornette's done for the business, and I appreciate his take on things. I don't take Jim Cornette seriously, and I don't agree with Cornette a lot, but there are things that I do agree on. I think Cornette is way too harsh on AEW. I think that, most wrestling, sites like the Wrestling Observer and Brian Alvarez and all them are way too harsh on WWE. And I think that there's a reason to want to make the product in itself better. But by ripping it down every single week and destroying everything they do and never giving them credit when they do something good is indicative of how the business is going to start going downhill. Because wrestling fans, for the majority that I've learned, don't watch wrestling anymore. They get all their news through Twitter and dirt sheets and YouTube, and they watch clips, and then they tune in for what they want to see, and then they bitch about it online. So if the majority of the people are getting their wrestling through wrestling sites, through YouTube channels, which is why I am trying my best, guys, really, really, really trying my best to not be negative about anything except for douchebag wrestling fans on this channel. Because I want this to be a place of positivity. I want everybody to be able to walk into this place and to walk into a live stream and to enjoy themselves and to talk about professional wrestling without anybody crapping all over their ideas or anybody crapping over what they like. And that's cool. If 95% of the people in this chat like something and somebody doesn't, it's cool. But don't ridicule them for it. And that's the idea. That's what I want to build. I want to build positivity in this space of professional wrestling, because I don't think that there are a lot of places that do it. And I'm going to say it again, and I feel bad for preaching it, but I'm just going to keep doing it because he's my boy and he really killed it today. The In Your House podcast, the same thing. He preaches wrestling positivity. He produces the Pope, Elijah Burke, D'Angelo Dinero, however you know him. He produces his podcast. He's well-rounded. He's knowledgeable. He's done announcing and broadcasting in the professional wrestling medium. He's met a lot of wrestlers, independent wrestlers and stuff like that. He's very knowledgeable, but he doesn't talk crap. He critiques and he wants better, but he doesn't sit there and ridicule everybody for their opinions. And those are the people that I'm gonna talk about when it comes to other content creators, when it comes to professional wrestling. That's why I love Dave. Dave hates what he hates, but Dave doesn't hate professional wrestling. He doesn't hate the business, and he doesn't hate the WWE in itself. He doesn't like the booking, but he doesn't hate the company, and he doesn't troll and throw out hate and talk about how much he hates things all the time. Do we get into arguments about things we don't like? Almost every single time. But it's not in a in a constant negative way. Yeah, look, Chris, Cornette's entertaining. I'm not saying it's just not my cup of tea. I think Russo's entertaining too. I think that his shtick is entertaining as well. I think it's absolutely amazing that they are both just the exact same side of the same coin, but they both hate each other for it. They both love the old school stuff. They both, I know Cornette hates like the Crash wrestling booking, and he hates what Russo did. But for the most part, their ideologies are very, very similar. Harry, I do love you. Harry, you don't speak negatively about anything about wrestling, and I appreciate that. Dave hates Shawn Michaels and Canadians, but he's a great man. Was he wearing a yellow shirt or a gold shirt today? Because that would have only been fair. Hey Albert, I thought of a dream match. Want to hear it? Absolutely. Degenerate, I do miss the Pope. His podcast is great, and I think that the Pope would be very well utilized as a manager in the current climate of professional wrestling. Do you see similarities with the current era and the new generation era? Yes. Yes, I do. I think that there are no old stars left over from the bygone era. The oldest star right now that they have in WWE as an active wrestler. Oh, Mr. J Jr., I'm 100% by it. You said Steve Corino, and you said old school. You said old school CM Punk. I'm in. I'm down. Huge fan of both of those guys. But I see this as, the only guy that's really around from the WWE bygone era of, yesteryear, that, the PG era, if you will, is Randy Orton. From the RA era, that's it. It's Orton. I mean, Edge is back, but not back full time. Brock is there, but he's not there full time. Cena technically still works there, but hasn't been on since WrestleMania. So Orton's the only guy. So they're in a very big rebuilding period. And I think that, there are a lot of similarities between right now and the new generation era, because WWE was trying to push, Hogan was gone and Savage was gone. And they were building Yoko, and they were building Brett, and they were building Shawn, they were building Diesel. Undertaker was, the stalwart there who was still there, during that time. Yes, Big Show, you're right, Harry. Big Show's still there in a part-time capacity as well. But there's no more guys that are there full-time outside of Orton. And, it's one of those things where I think that they're in a rebuilding phase. And I think that WWE fans are just not giving them the opportunity to properly rebuild. And look, I'll be the first to admit, Vince has missed on a lot of guys. I know Harry mentioned before that he's hoping that Wade Barrett would wrestle again in WWE, and so do I, because I think he missed the boat on Barrett. He missed the boat on Rusev. Are there guys that were main event caliber talent that, they missed the boat on? Sure. I know a lot of people are complaining about Keith Lee right now, and Keith Lee has been handling everything marvelously on Twitter because, look, the change in theme music sucks. And I know that there was a money reason why. The changing gear doesn't bother me as much. My boy Khan kept calling it a dress. They were baggy basketball shorts. I don't like the look on Keith. I think he looked good in the tight bikers. But yeah, Zack Ryder 100%. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know if Zack Ryder could have ever been a heavyweight champion with the gimmick that he had. But when he, came back and he dropped that and he won the IC title, and in that phase, I think he could have been a major player. And look, the Degenerate, I really don't think that the PG era was that bad. I think they were booked well. I think that the wrestling fans were just in a period coming off of John Cena where they didn't want to see another John Cena, and WWE, in their eyes, gave them another John Cena. It didn't matter about the fact, and I will argue about this until I'm fucking blue in the face. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Roman Reigns was over when the Shield was together. Roman Reigns was over when the Shield broke up. Roman Reigns was getting cheered up until Daniel Bryan announced he was going to come back, and wrestling fans decided that WWE had already predetermined that Roman Reigns was going to win the Rumble. And go back. I really wish you can go back. And I know there's ways you probably can. Go back and look at the internet. Back at that point. Because there were a lot of people that were like, well, it looks like Roman's going to be the next guy up. And all right, yeah, I mean, that's cool. It looked like Vince likes him, and, Roman's the next guy. So, I don't mind it. And then Bryan announced it. And then they were like, well, they're still going with Roman. They're not changing. Bryan should main event 2 WrestleManias in a row. God forbid, and look, I know Roman doing 4 was excessive, but God forbid when Roman got to 2, everybody was like, how dare they have somebody main event 2 WrestleManias in a row? That's the internet for you. AJ Envoy, I really, really think that Cardona could be a big player in AEW because he's a bigger dude than half the guys in AEW. I mean, him versus Brody Lee looks realistic. I like Cardona. I think that Matt Cardona is going to be a major player if AEW keeps him around and books him the right way. He's got an outside following. He's got a lot. There's so much upside to him. Teammates, I think kids today do like wrestling. It's funny because if you guys aren't aware, my background is I'm a social worker. That's my day job. So I go to kids' houses all the time, and it's funny because a lot of kids have wrestling figures. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, look at this. There's a little Dean Ambrose. Oh, there's a Roman. There's an AJ. This is cool. You like wrestling? What do you like? And I think that kids dig the product. I think that kids like the colorful characters. I think that wrestling fans don't nowadays are like, why are the Lucha House Party heavily featured? Because kids like them. Kids love the New Day. I think it's I think kids like today's product. And AJ Roman looked amazing. If anybody hates, they're morons. I think Roman looked great. I think he's been, and that's the thing. I can't believe he comes back and gets right into the title picture. Oh, you mean you forgot the full year that he came back after he had cancer and didn't come anywhere near the title picture? Shut the F up. You guys have no idea what you're talking about. You just hate to hate. Yes, they did, Dave. Oh my God, Dave's in my live stream. This is like bizarro world right now. Chris, man, if we get that, if we get War Games and we get Dark Order versus the Nightmare Family, dude, I am gonna be stoked. I'm gonna have no voice. I'm gonna have no voice. It's gonna be great. And Dave, Roman's teeth look great. I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, he got him fixed. He got a mouth guard. Everything's all good. Dave, I specifically didn't do this live stream with you because I've cursed about 7,000 times talking about wrestling fans from, and how fucking moronic they are with everything they did in the Thunderdome. So I've saved your monetization so much. Chris, I hope for your sake it does. I really do. I mean, they're allowing a 10% capacity. I hope it happens. That's right. You had second row, man. I really hope it happens. And Dave, just because you can see them from space, look, I'm going to go on record right now and say this. Britt Baker did an amazing job on Roman's teeth. I don't care if she takes credit or not. That was his dentist. Because every wrestler goes to Britt Baker because she's the only dentist in wrestling. I love that Harry is on my live stream slamming Dave right now because he beat him in predictions. This is the greatest thing ever. Jose, you are not wrong, dude. She can pull my teeth any day. But is that what it is, Degenerate? The 11 people that were here before Dave got here and the 7 thumbs up mean nothing. But now that Dave's here, now the ratings start. I'm going to push my wrestling account until it's pushed to Al's No Limit. Listen, Mr. J Jr., plug away. Do what you got to do. I have no problem with anybody who that's a content creator. I am more than happy. Throw it in the comments and plug away. Totally cool by it. I want people to support people. The reason why a good amount of you guys are here is from Dave's stream. And now, Team Age, jumped in because he saw my review, and now he's enjoying the live stream. And now Dave's here, and he said he wants to check out Dave the next time, he's on. So that's what I want. Supporters supporting content creators. So the more everybody does, the better we are. Dave, I've talked about this earlier. I told Harry that his video will be coming soon. I am working on. I think I actually found the problem with my computer. I think I had an expiration on a product key. I have to call this whole big thing. I'm gonna get it fixed. You're probably gonna go on after me. All right, cool. So that's great. So, Chris, thank you for stopping by, man. I really appreciate it. And sure, go Young Bucks, I guess. And I don't think OVW is still a thing, Team H. But Dave, I'm gonna sign off in like another 10. So if you want to stick around for like 10 minutes and hang out, and then everybody, once I am done with this stream, go to Dave Knows Wrestling Team H, he's right under his comments right underneath you. If you want to check him out, go and do his go to his live stream and have at it, guys. I'm gonna probably go for a walk afterwards and work out and take a shower and go to bed because I am exhausted and still not feeling great. But yeah, support content creators. Team H, I love Eric Bischoff. I'm an avid 83 weeks. I gotta finish tomorrow's video. I'll hop on at 9. All right, so there you go. 9 p.m. I'll hang out until 9, guys. I'll hang out until 9, and then once I'm done, I'll sign up at like 5 minutes before so you guys can switch over and watch Dave. Support Dave's channel. He's the man. 95% of you guys are here because of him, and I wouldn't be able to have this many subscribers without him. So support Dave. And Team H, to answer your question, I'm an 83-week supporter. I listen every week. I really enjoy Eric's takes on everything. I agree with a lot of things that Eric says, but I actually disagree with some of the stuff he says too. I agree with the predominant stuff he says about, how he hates dirt sheets and, the falsification and the spreading of false rumors and stuff like that. I genuinely agree with a lot of his sense of the way he booked things. We have this very similar taste in wrestling and in what we like to watch, but also what we know sells or what we think sells. Because no is, I've never promoted a wrestling show, so I can't say no's. But I appreciate a lot about what Eric Bischoff does and says. I think Eric Bischoff is a mind that doesn't get tapped into enough. And I think that guys like AEW and WWE, MLW, NWA are doing themselves a disservice by not having a guy like Eric Bischoff on their side. Because I think Eric is actually a really knowledgeable guy. He's, promoted wrestling at the height of the wrestling boom, the highest period in professional wrestling ever. Does everything that he says still work? No. Are there things that he's going to probably, throw out there that might go against the grain? Sure. But I also don't think that, look, Team H, you said you're going to go, you're an Impact fan. So I hope you've watched, to get this, I hope you watched Impact when they were TNA. Yeah, absolutely. The creator of the NWO. And Team H, I don't know if you saw my video about it, but I'm a huge proponent and a big fan of Aces and Eights. I think that storyline was great. Until it fell apart, I think that it was absolutely fantastic. I think they did a great job. I think it was, a lot of people were like, oh, it was like the, I can't remember the name of the show right now because I wasn't a fan of it, but the motorcycle show, a Sons of Anarchy version of the NWO. And sure, maybe that was the case, but it was still booked very well. It was terrific, man. And I loved the video that I did, because there were a lot of twists and turns. The D'Lo Brown thing, taking out Al Snow, putting D'Lo Brown in, Wes Briscoe gets in, the turn, Briscoe and Garrett Bischoff being, Kurt Angle's friends, their turn, getting Ken Anderson in there. Like, there were so many good twists and turns, Bully being the leader. It was done so well. And yeah, that was, Sorry, I had a very long phone call. I hope I didn't miss too much. I gave Dave a super chat for $5 asking. Well, I appreciate you, Sinister. I really do. Dave was just in the chat. He's working on his video, and he's going to go back live at 10 o'clock. So you guys can all swap over to him at 10 o'clock at 9 o'clock when I sign off. And support both of us in the same night, which I think is a fantastic thing. I'm going to try to, probably set a date at the beginning of September. I'm thinking that it's going to be in every Thursday. I'm going to do an hour every Thursday. I'm going to try to stick to an hour every Thursday to do a live stream. And Harry, look, I liked TNA. I was a big proponent of TNA. I'm going to admit something on here that I probably shouldn't admit. Not that it matters anymore, but, I had the illegal hot box for a while. So, I watched all the NWA TNA pay-per-view stuff in the beginning. I do want to subscribe to Impact Plus at one point when I have some time to go back and watch some old school Impact and TNA because I think they did great stuff back then. But the wrestling was unparalleled. It was second to none. I like the six-sided ring. And True Sinister, I tuned in a lot during the Spike era. The Fox Sports era, I kind of gloss over a little bit because I didn't really have it and I didn't really get to see it with what my cable company. I don't believe I had it at the time, but when they switched over to Spike, I watched weekly. It was DVR'd. It's back on my DVR again. I like to support as much as I possibly can. I don't have a lot of time anymore, which has been a big proponent as to why this channel hasn't been as active as it could be, because of the fact that I don't have as much time as I would have liked to have had back in the day when I was watching all this. And to be completely honest, guys, I'm gonna be straightforward with you. Being in a relationship with someone who doesn't watch wrestling and isn't fanatical about wrestling is a very difficult thing to do, because it's very hard for me to watch the product. When my ex-wife and I lived together, I watched wrestling in piecemeal things. She would go out and smoke a cigarette, and I'd watch 8 minutes of Raw. She'd go take a shower, and I'd watch 15 minutes of it until she was done and changed and ready, and she got into bed, and then we watched something together. That's how I watched it. Now that my girlfriend and I are together and we don't live together, but are talking about doing that, but in the intermediary time where I do live, for the most part on my own, I don't watch wrestling for the most part when she is with me, out of respect for the fact that I know she's not big into watching the product. So I don't want to force it upon her. But like I said at the beginning of this stream, man, she dug the Bray Wyatt versus Braun Strowman thing, and she can take it in doses. She watched some of Impact because I wanted to see Brian's debut, and she watched the Brian Myers match, and she was into it. But she was like, "This is low rent WWE," and I went, "Oof, ouch!" But yeah, pretty much. So it's difficult to follow a lot of products sometimes. I really try to follow New Japan as much as I could because I really like the New Japan product. But now they're not on Access anymore, and it got more difficult. But I do follow AEW as closely as I possibly can. I've watched the last 5 or 6 shows. I watched live for the most part on Saturday, up until the main event, which I have to figure out. Guys, if you know this, I'm going to sign off in a couple minutes, but if you know, how do I watch? Is there an app I can watch AEW on? Because I missed the tail end of the Dark Order attack on Cody and the Nightmare Collective. And I kind of want to see the whole thing. Is there a way where I can watch that? Is there an app, or is it on demand on TNT? If anybody knows, please let me know. And if you guys hear this and I sign off, could you? Oh, there's a TNT app. Harry, thank you for that. I'm going to download that and watch the end of that. And AJ Envoy, yeah, it does look good, and I love what New Japan's doing now. But True Sinister, I'm going to be completely honest. I have not watched one NWA show. That's a lie. I watched the very first NWA show, and that was it. I've said this on Dave's live stream. I'll say this here. If you want me to watch a wrestling program, put it on television. I know that I sound like an old man, but I just turned 35. I watch professional wrestling on my television, and I tune in on a cable channel to watch it. It's very hard for me to remember to watch something on YouTube or on an app. So it's hard for me to follow NWA, and it's hard for me to follow New Japan. I know I sound like, the get off my lawn old man right now, but it is what it is. I'm old school. That's the way I watch wrestling. It is what it is. So there you go, True Sinister. So you're in the same age bracket as I am. I know that a lot of people have adapted to the idea of being able to watch the majority of their stuff on online on YouTube and stuff like that. You see, Team H, Netflix I'd be okay with, because if it's in a weekly format, I'd be okay with it. I'd be like, oh crap, I have to watch, wrestling on Netflix. I think that I loved when, man, I went nuts when Lucha Underground was on Netflix. I loved it. Lucha Underground is one of my favorite promotions ever. I wish that it stayed on Netflix, and I wish the whole Lucha Underground catalog was still there. I think it could absolutely work on Netflix. I don't know why Hulu hasn't done this yet. Hulu has all this WWE programming. Why wouldn't Hulu pick up a live action wrestling program? Makes sense for me. But I mean, look, that's just me. I wish I will watch the pay-per-views on the network, but I don't Hulu wrestling on, despite knowing it's on. Yeah, look, I get it. And I'm the same way, True Sinister. I know that Hulu has WWE content on there. I know that Hulu has wrestling content on there, but I can't go and I don't remember to watch it. If it is a weekly segmented show every week, over and over again, we get, a weekly show where we and it's brand new content, I'm cool with that. But I want to support Cap TV, but it's hard. I know that they're putting out weekly content on YouTube, but it's hard for me to watch wrestling on YouTube. And in all honesty, it's actually easier. And I probably could watch it and it would make it easier on my life, but it's hard. The only thing I've ever gotten used to watching on a phone or on an app has been NXT. And I still watch NXT on the network. Outside of that, weekly television, it's hard for me to follow unless it's on television. And True Sinister, I completely agree. I'm so far behind on NXT right now, and it's killing my soul. But I am gonna. I'm hopefully next week scheduling. Maybe not next week. Maybe the first week of September, first or second week of September. I'm probably going to schedule like a 2 or 3 day set where I'm going to be off. I'm going to spend a couple of hours one day finishing up one of my tattoos, and then I'm going to really binge watch wrestling and catch up on some video games. So I want to catch up on NXT as much as I possibly can. So that's my goal right now. But yeah, it's hard to not watch it when it's fresh. But guys, in 2 minutes, Dave Knows Wrestling will be live. Get on there, interact with him, and teammates, tell Dave that I sent you, and tell him to treat you. Tell him he better treat you good and answer all your questions because I told him that he has to. And for all of you guys who joined me today, who joined me on my epically curse-laden rant about how douchebaggy wrestling fans are, I love you, each and every one of you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for watching. And I will do my best, starting at the beginning of September, to more than likely do these live streams once a week, more than likely on a Thursday, because I know Dave does the stuff on Wednesdays with AEW and stuff like that. So on a Thursday where there's no competition between myself and Dave, and we can do this every week at the same time, same place for an hour, hour and a half, what have you. Thank you guys so much for everything. I appreciate all the support. I appreciate all the love. I love each and every one of you. And I will see you guys soon. Thanks again.